Hello everyone, my name is Dr. David Amron. I am the host of Lippy Logic at the Lippy Lounge. Welcome. Today's segment is going to be about understanding the cosmetic unit. This is another very important philosophical way of looking at things that I developed many years ago in terms of body contouring. And it's something that applies to not only lipedema patients, but cosmetic patients also. I call them cosmetic units. Another way of looking at them as anatomic units in relation to body proportioning and body contouring. So let me tell you where I came up with this concept of things. It's really nowhere more important than in lipedema itself, not only from a cosmetic standpoint, but from a disease treatment standpoint completely, to treat things as complete units. So when I began to focus and specialize in liposuction over 25 years ago, I was sent all these complicated patients that nobody wanted to do. Complicated revision stuff that I said. Areas like calves and ankles, when people began to hear that I was doing calf and ankle liposuction surgery, began to send me a lot of those patients. And I was really looking and thinking and designing a way to do the unit of the calf and ankle properly. And I realized that the calf and ankle is a unit. It starts somewhere and it ends somewhere. And there's a layer of fat there. When you're trying to shape this thing three-dimensionally and properly, to begin with, you've got to respect that cosmetic unit. You can't break things up. You can't just do little bits and pieces or parts of it. You have to do it completely. The interesting thing is mostly all of those patients that I was doing then had lipedema, and didn't realize my first couple years doing those patients over 25 years ago that was lipedema, but I had a lot of experience treating those patients. And that came with the cosmetic unit concept, doing calves and ankles in lipedema patients. But it's important to not only treat it, like I mentioned, cosmetically properly, but to get rid of all the lipedema fat completely and release all the fibrosis completely, so that you're not leaving areas behind. If you do that, then the surgeon will have to go back and get those areas later on. It's just really an improper way to do it. So you want to understand the cosmetic unit. I keep driving this point home. It needs to be done completely and properly, 100%. That was the first area I designed, the calf and ankle unit. The second area that I designed was the circumferential torso unit, and realizing the circumferential torso also needs to be looked at as a complete cosmetic unit. I began to see so many patients in my revision work that had lipo done in their abdomen, their lower abdomen, maybe their abdomen and flanks. And a lot of those were cosmetic patients that started gaining fat in other areas, like the upper back area or their waist area, within that cosmetic unit. So you have to respect the cosmetic unit, because otherwise you can create disproportion within that cosmetic unit. Not just in a person's body overall, but within that cosmetic unit. And a lot of my revision work, again, were people that didn't have their upper back area done that should have had it done properly. So most of the time when I do the torso in patients, it is done as a complete cosmetic unit, from the pubic area all the way up to under the breast and wrapped all the way circumferentially, all the way around three-dimensionally, all the way down to the tailbone, all the way up to the armpit area, completely, lipedema or not. The third area that I began to do in a complete way was the thigh cosmetic unit. Now again, in lipedema, we understand how important that is, because in lipedema, it's not just your saddlebags and your inner thigh area, the common areas where liposuction is done, but you have to commit to that whole cosmetic unit, from the groin, or what's called inguinal crease, all the way down to the knee joint itself, and completely circumferentially as it wraps around, to treat it properly and completely, and again, cosmetically respect everything with it. The upper arms, another cosmetic unit. The forearms, another cosmetic unit, from the elbow to the wrist itself. The neck area in patients I do typically cosmetically, but in a lot of lipedema patients, from the jawline down to the clavicle area as it comes around. Understanding cosmetic units, and the slide that we have up there, hopefully, is showing the different cosmetic units defined. The calf and ankle unit, from the bottom up, from the ankle to the kneecap, as it wraps around to what we call the popliteal fossa in the back, from the kneecap up to the groin inguinal crease area, and it wraps around is the thigh cosmetic unit. The torso is from the pubic area all the way up to the breast, wrapping all the way around to the tailbone, all the way to the armpit. The upper arm from the elbow to the shoulder joint, to under the armpit. And then finally the forearms from the elbow to the wrist itself as a cosmetic unit. Again, it's vitally important to respect cosmetic units. And I'm just going to finish off by saying that, and this is a whole other area of markings and incision points that you will hopefully watch a segment on. The markings and where those incision points are placed are crucially important too. You do not want to be accessing cosmetic units within the cosmetic unit. I see a lot of patients where the surgeon has done, let's say, the thighs in the middle. He's places access points to sculpt areas. That is really not the best way to go about things completely. You want to be at the perimeter, the periphery of the cosmetic unit, and do your sculpting from that point. My name is Dr. David Amron. This is Lippy Logic. That's logical at the Lippy Lounge. Thank you so much for tuning in.